Hello everyone, this is Pakshta Fashion Workshop. I remind you that we post new videos every day. Today we continue working with the pleated dress. Last time I showed you how to make a pattern for it. Today I'm going to show you how to cut it. This is going to be a detailed video, so you won't have any questions left. Have a look at the sketch and the photo once again. I can move them aside. I've realized that this piece of fabric isn't wide enough. It's just 110 centimeters wide. I didn't expect that to happen. Notice that there is not enough fabric for this piece of the pattern here. I've decided to make a pocket of it. Due to this fact, this piece can be cut of different part of the fabric and then tacked here. This piece can be cut. I'm not really going to make a pocket. It's going to be a pocket imitation. It's very important not to lose this piece of the pattern. I've added 6 centimeters to the bottom, 3 centimeters for the overcast extension, and 3 centimeters to the length extension. The pattern was 105 centimeters long originally. This is the lower front detail. I've pinned the center front to the fold. I remind you that it should be cut on the grain. Be very attentive when cutting these details. You need to be very accurate when working with the seam extensions. Do not forget to make the space and seams on these lines. It should be done for us to be able to make beautiful accurate pleats. Do not forget about this detail. It's very important. I can start cutting now. When the detail is cut, the space and seams are made, I'll start cutting the bodice and the back. I'm going to cut the sleeves off the camera. The width of the seam extension is about 1 centimeter. I'm cutting it by side. As I've already said, the lower part of the front is the first detail to be cut. It's better to make a detail longer than needed, and then just cut the extra piece, than make a detail shorter than needed. The dress is pretty complicated. This is why I'm being so accurate and careful. Next, I want to cut the fabric for this small piece as well. The detail isn't straight. Anyway, I'm going to cut it according to the grain. I'll be working just with the lower part of the front for now. I was so happy that I managed to buy this piece of fabric. I've even promised Ola to make her a sweatshirt of it as well. Here's the cut detail. This is how it looks like now. I can move all the other things aside. This detail is the only thing needed at the moment. In order for the pleats to be accurate, I need to make the space and seams on the first lines and the fold in each of the pleats. I need to pin the lines in order to be able to trace them to the other side. When it's done, I'll detach the pattern and trace them to this side as well. I need to pin and tack the 4 lines. I also want to make a space and seam on the center front. It should be done for me to work with it without any problems. I'm pinning the fold and the first line in each of the pleats. When I pin the lines, I'll turn the detail. I'm going to draw the lines with the ruler. The first lines in the both pleats should be pinned. This is very important. I remind you that the lines are signed. I need to turn the detail next. I'm going to use a ruler and a piece of chalk for drawing the pinned lines. I'm working with the first pleat. The fold is already drawn, and I'm drawing the first line now. I've drawn all the needed lines. These are the folds, and these are the lines. Do not forget to mark the center front. This is very important. I'll even make a tiny notch here. I can detach the pattern next. I'm not going to throw this pattern away. I like the dress, so it might be useful for me again. I don't want to waste my time making the same pattern once again. Do not forget to make a notch in the center front. This is also the center front. There is going to be a fold here. I can move the pattern aside. The first thing I want to do is to make a spacing seam on the center front. It should be done in order for me not to make any mistakes. Don't be lazy. Such details are not a waste of time.
Вот такие операции никогда не надо лениться делать.
When this seam is ready, I'll trace the drawn lines to this side. I need to make the spacing seams on the both sides. If the piece of fabric you're working with is wider, you won't have to cut this piece separately. You're lucky. I didn't expect such thing to happen. I was planning to sew not only the dress, but also a sweater for Ola of this piece of fabric. I remind you that the piece of fabric I'm working with is 110 centimeters wide. I'm not going to unfold the cut detail. It will be much more convenient to work with it this way. These are the drawn lines. I need to pin them. I'm doing it in order to trace them to the other side. There is a spacing seam on the center front here and a notch here. Making spacing seams prevents us from making mistakes. I like it that we've moved past the point where I was showing you only the most simple designs. Very nice. This is the first line. If you don't make the spacing seams, you won't be able to make accurate high-quality garments. It's not a waste of time. I need to draw the second pleat next. This is the first line. And this is the fold. It's not hard to draw the lines according to the pins. I can take them out now. The next thing I need to do is to tag this detail. I don't want to lose it. It's not hard to make spacing seams in the drawn lines. There is no need to measure or calculate anything else. Have a look at what I'm doing. I've already made the spacing seam on the center front. The spacing seams should be made in all of the drawn lines. I've made most of the seams off the camera. Make the spacing seams according to the lines. As I've already said, it's not hard to do it.
Точно по нашим линиям, ничего не надо думать. Сейчас такая работа, просто техническая работа. Ура!
Let's have a look at what we got here. The center front, the two lines in each of the pleats. The piece of fabric wasn't wide enough, so I had to cut these details. It's okay though. The pockets are going to be very beautiful. Watch what I'm doing. I need to fold the second line first, the one which marks the fold. Make sure that the seams match. The fold should be hidden inside the detail. I remind you that there is a notch on the center front here. It matches the spacing seam on the center front perfectly. This is very important. I need to fold the same pleat on the other side next. The notches should match the spacing seam. Watch what I'm doing. The fold should be pinned. This is how the first pleat looks like now. This is the center front. I remind you that the pleat should be stitched right over left. The notches on the center front should match. When I pin the details, I'll tag them. When it's done, I'll take the pins out. This is a regular waistline. You do not necessarily have to make such dresses. You can make skirts this way. Next, I need to make and pin the second pleats. They should be pinned just like the first ones. Fold the details in such a way that the spacing seam on the fold matches the spacing seam on the first line. Be very accurate when working with the knitted I'm going to tack the waistline next. I know that such garments seem impossible to be made when you look at them at the pictures. Once you start working, you realize that there's nothing complicated about them. You just need to be careful. I remind you that in my dress, this detail is 10 centimeters wide. You can make it tighter if you want. You can also change the position of the second pleat. Next, I need to tack the waistline. Make sure that you tack these fold accurately. Its top side should match the waistline. This is very important. I finished taking the edge. I showed you how to tack the pleats. I remind you that I pinned the detail for stitching. The lower front detail is ready. You do not necessarily have to make two pleats on each side. You can make just the two pleats on the center. The skirt is going to look amazing. Of course, it's going to look different when it's stitched to the bodice. It will look much better. Knitted fabric stretch, so it's hard for me to show you how the skirt is going to look like. It took me quite a lot of time to cut and tack this detail. Next time, I'm going to cut the upper front detail and the back. When the dress is tacked, I'll try it on. If you do everything the way we show you, you won't have any problems. Just be careful and attentive. That's all for today. Be different and beautiful. Remember that practice makes perfect. Do not be afraid of experiments. My name is Paukšte Irina. Subscribe to my channel, write comments, share the videos, press a like and the bell buttons. I would really appreciate your support. Thank you. Goodbye.